Pick the difficulty that puts story over
ready. They say there's an advantage to working all on your lonesome. You ain't gotta fight for resources, and nobody else can take credit for your victories. I always found that funny, seeing as if you fail at standard practice in Auntie's Choice to find someone to pin the blame on. Traveling in pairs seems like a good compromise to me. We move fast, travel light, and we look out for each other. And hopefully have an understanding that we ought not to throw each other under the proverbial tram. Right, Commander?
Careful, friend. Reckon there might be a few...
Careful of friendly fire if you head down past the farm.
Appreciate you agreeing to help, but the arm's itching something fierce. Ready to do away with it. We ought to head to Doc Tinsley's, quickly if we can. Anyhow, was there something you needed, Commander? How personal are we talking? Couldn't say. I was in it all of 2 days before my graft started festering. Before that, I was an infantry medic. Our platoon was one of the first to touch down in Arcadia. I would have continued serving on the front line in an upgraded capacity, but, well, once the state of my graft became apparent, it was decided that parting ways would be best. My commanding officer, and the surgeon who performed the operation, I imagine. I wasn't lucid at the time. When I regained consciousness, I saw that my service pistol was gone, and a termination notice was in its place. I put two and two together. Law, that was a bad morning. Look, I knew dismissal was a possibility when I volunteered for the procedure. A successful graft is a boon, a failed one is a colossal liability. I'm a walking lesson in breakage. Oh, that information is outside my purview. I miss my platoon. Most of the time. I hope they're holding on okay wherever they are. Huh. If nothing else, they'll have Ortiz to keep up morale. I know the non- Of course I do. Can't help but wonder if I'm missed in return. Anyhow, I would rather return to the matter at hand. Right. Like ain't the word I'd use, even before I was itching to tear up my contract and set it aflame. Auntie gave me autonomy, gave me the choice to do more than just struggle to survive. They treated me better than my last employers did, and despite recent events, I believe in their mission. What, did you think I was born into it? How else do you grow a corporation to this size without doing outside recruiting? Take a look at what most systems offer, and what Auntie's Choice provides. Do the math. I'm just one of many who welcomed the chance to enlist with open arms. Of course, going from a life lived in squalor to one that rewards you on merit, it would send anyone's mind spinning. Now, do I got qualms with Auntie? Sure. But I'll tell you what, when she overthrew those Spacer's Choice bastards in 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩, my home system, that takeover was the best thing that ever happened to us, even if it took time to see it. But I reckon that's a tale for another day. That all you wanted to discuss, or... Fine by me? Well, like I said, we were both in the same unit. Me as a combat medic, him as a machine gunner. Everyone in my unit was from 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪, so we already had that in common. And we served on the front lines, which made us look out for one another that much more. See, most of us were laborers, and we just got our first real shot at something greater. We wanted to make a name for ourselves, and what better way to do that than become a hero? Our onboarders promised that if we demonstrated exceptionalism, showed initiative, that we'd get promoted quick. And our days of living in squalor would be far behind us. It ain't like they forced us to join up. We did that on our own. And it said in our contract that they could send us wherever we were needed. Can't complain if where we're needed is in a trench staring down the barrels of a minigun. All right. We spent a week crouched in the same foxhole under aerial bombardment. Shared water one sip at a time by the end of it. Anyone would have been friends after that. I don't know if I would have made it out alive without him. Maybe I'll tell him that over a beer one day. Praise him in front of the whole saloon. Law knows he's got a thing for heroics. He kept me clear-headed. Every so often there'd be a lull in the bombardments and I'd hear voices all across the field, calling out for aid, for mama, for death. Almost got my head clean taken off when I tried to scramble out of the foxhole the first night. I heard a call for help and moved on instinct. Damn foolish of me, really. Ortiz told me not to panic, to wait till he could provide cover, to just shout first aid instructions where I could. It was too valuable to fall in battle, he said. It was a rough few nights at first, knowing I couldn't help folk who needed it. And the reward for that torment was my life. I appreciate that, Commander. In any case, I'm only standing here because of a damn fine soldier who became my friend. I'll carry that knowledge always.
Scout. Yes, move along. Mind your own business interests.
Those guards are mighty agitated, and some are wearing gas masks. Gas masks. Yeah, something ain't right here. We should be cautious.
What?
Looks like a fight.
Conduct observed.
Preparing to fight.
Our enemies aim to our prosperity. Seeing our sense of community, they sneer at our development.
Epitomizes the pinnacle of social order. Why? Because the
Huh.
matriarch herself...
Visitors, huh? Just meandering about, free of any appointed minder? Not so sure I ought to be speaking with you. If you need someone to talk to hereabouts, I suggest you seek out 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩. That tall, stately building back yonder is his domicile.
Hogarth. Milver Street reckons he's the key to converting this town. Let's bring him the good news of Auntie's choice, shall we?
Do hate to come off impolite. If you're so inclined, we can pick this up later, after you two confabulate. Word of the wise, despite what you might hear, we still consider ourselves part of the Protectorate. Anyone spots an outsider engaging in misdeeds might just open fire.
Nutritious and plentiful. We have everything we need. Prudence dictates we take a moment to write everything.
Literally everything I own is underwater.
What do you mean? Everything we have belongs to the sun. We
Greetings. It is my esteemed pleasure to welcome you to Westport, once a shining testament to Protectorate excellence, now a picturesque example of the evils of corporatism. But where are my manners? We do not have much, but please let me offer you some victuals. Tut. I insist. Serving Unit 1. Something for the visitor at once?
Confirmative.
Perhaps you're wondering why I'd open my arms thusly for a stranger. Simple. As the guiding light for humankind, we always put our best foot forward, regardless of circumstance.
If each of us does our part, produces glorious bounty for all. Naturally, sometimes challenges do arise. We all know how
I believe something still can be done. This town can be saved, its people given a reprieve. Were we to acquire the one thing vital to our existence, automech parts. What?
Comestibles served.
We of the Protectorate pride ourselves on our mech programming. Among the vigilant, it is even considered something of a sport. We are not miracle workers, however. Without parts to work with, we've no hope of remaking our mechs to do tasks beyond their initial functions. We need repair mechs, domestic mechs, not combat ones. Serving Unit 1 here is about as much as can be accomplished without replacement parts.
Gray gone astray? Book a stay today. Are you mentally refreshed?
Under Protectorate law, we are bound to inform you that you have entered a recreant locality. Record states as follows. All inhabitants are declared treasonous due to insufficient zeal in defense against seizure, sabotage, and/or manipulative indoctrinatory falsity. We are of like minds. We lack not the skill to do so. Our wily chief mechanist can reprogram the mech, but not without parts. Unfortunately, we lack ready availability of said parts.
Everyone knows the paradigm epitomizes the pinnacle of social order. Why? Because the matriarch...
Oh, you failed to hear the loudspeakers on the way in? The announcement we're obliged to repeat incessantly. Well, allow me to paraphrase. Protectorate law finds us guilty of treason on account of letting Westport fall prey to Auntie's choice saboteurs.
Resources and lack of community led to terrible suffering. Poor dears didn't have the firm, benevolent hand of the sovereign to guide them. Here on Eden, we all enjoy...
These fine and decent folk don't deserve having their lives thrown away on account of my failures. If I can return the settlement to a reasonable facsimile of its previous glory, sufficiently functioning by employing mechs reprogrammed to repair and rebuild, the arbiters might see fit to penalize only me, commute the others' sentences, allow them to maintain things around here in the spirit of continuity and such.
Look around. If the Protectorate wanted to do right by you, you wouldn't be starving and wallowing in this metal quagmire. You want to help your people? Go to Fairfield.
Fairfield? Why, they're the reason we're in this mess. You'll forgive me for questioning such timely offers of generosity and kindness. No thank you, not interested. I owe it to every single person here to try.
The matriarch chose Eden because she recognized it as the perfect ecosystem. The native flora and fauna, the pleasant atmosphere, and rich natural resources represent a fascinatingly complex...
What sort of payment do you seek? Don't imagine we have much you need.
Working with and through the sovereign, devised the paradigm, a meticulously designed...
Enough to lead and inspire those who work there, once at least. I was previously the ranking vigilant on this island. Why do you ask?
Challenges do arise. We all know how invasive species can unbalance even the most...
I don't know what an Earth Directorate is, and I'd thought we were past the need for being coy, but fine. I'll extend you my trust as a show of good faith. In exchange for the automech parts we need, I can provide you means to get inside. Never dream of such a proposal in days of reason and quietude. Yet such is the here and now we find ourselves in. Wonderful. My unavoidable march to the gallows feels lighter already. At least now my subjects will have a fleeting chance. The parts can be found at the Euphoria Coast Automech Repair Center to the south, but do not, under any circumstances, tell those stationed there why you need them. To get inside, you will need an access pass from the Ministry of Accuracy. Since we have all been marked as traitors, I cannot create one for you here. Farewell now.
Are there to help you. Don't risk falling prey to imperfect thoughts. Go now.
Under Protectorate law, we are bound to inform you that you have entered a recreant locality. Record states as follows. All inhabitants are... treasonous due to...
What do you mean you're leaving?
Shift's over. I have a life outside this place, you know.
A life? Outside our lab? No. No. Audacious advances requires commitment. Absolute commitment! Commencing termination.
Who goes there? By orders of Marshal Donaldson, no one comes or goes to the Automech Repair Center without approval. What's your business here?
Now you've done it. Slowing down a ranking protectorate official is worth 10, 20 demerits if you're lucky.
All right, let's not lose our heads over a simple misunderstanding. You're free to pass. Marshal Donaldson likes to greet new arrivals personally. We'll let him know you're inbound, so no one shoots on sight. Oh, and fair warning, watch out for xeranium gas. We sprung a leak. Nothing too bad, aside from the headaches, nightmares, missing teeth, and headaches. One more thing. Don't cause any trouble around these parts. Donaldson runs a tight ship and has zero tolerance for lawbreakers.
All that matters is getting these automechs to the Vox relay. What in the name of the architect? Oh, right. My guards told me to expect a new arrival, right before our chief mechanist decided to harangue me with the latest on our catastrophe.
Marshal, you're acting as though I'm not standing here arguing the impending doom of this facility.
Woodrow, normally I would be obliged, nay, happy, to receive your senseless jawing, but not today. Perhaps this outsider can assist where you've failed. I hope you've come to help, because a crisis is bearing down on us, and I've a dearth of reliable hands with which to manage it. You see, Woodrow, why at this rate, we'll have the facility up and running in little to no time.
That's what scares me, Marshal.
Like you, me and my consternated head technician are new arrivals, though we may not last long if we fail to repair the xeranium leak. I wouldn't have put it in those terms, but I appreciate someone who speaks their mind. The Vox relay station needs our automechs. But until that leak is fixed, this facility is a target for the sport of Auntie's armaments. Delphinia Bryant is working on a prototype xeranium shield. Whoever uses it will be less disposable and more useful to the Protectorate. What did I tell you, Woodrow? The situation's well in hand.
Marshal, those automechs have been corrupted with uranium. I can't even cogitate on what they're capable of if we lack the time or resources to approach this rationally. Should they go berserk, we may well be turning the very subject you intend to resupply into their victims. We'd be branded as traitors.
Then perhaps you had better explain to Brigadier Montelli why his defenses are grounded. And you can do so personally, in the comfort of his office.
Montelli? I rescind my objection. May the delicate workings of the paradigm point us toward a better way.
There's a good fellow. Cleave to your loyalty, and it will never steer you wrong.
Oh yes, I adore interruptions. I was just saying, what's best for stoking the spark of invention? Regular disruptions to one's train of thought. Now, what is it you want? Ah, our good Marshal sent you, did he? Well, unfortunately, the device is taking longer than expected. Assist me, and you'll get more than bits out of the equation. You'll get a prototype shield gadget, the first of its kind. Now tell me, are you familiar with ziranium gas? I haven't time to prattle unnecessarily, no. But my current project is of utmost importance. An active discussion is sometimes known to lead to a breakthrough. I could speak at length about ziranium's many captivating intrinsic qualities, but suffice it to say, in its gaseous state, it's rather deadly. So what am I endeavoring to create? A protective device that shields its wearer from ziranium's remarkably unsavory effects, as well as other forms of harm. Quite splendidly, if I do say so myself. The principal function of the device is confirmed operational. I merely need to work out some minor implementation concerns. Alas, while I'm occupied with inventing this shield gadget, I also find myself in need of assistance regarding its key components. Good, good, wonderful. As an added incentive, I'll allow you to keep one of the prototypes once the work is finished, so you be sure to give it your all. Now here, you'll need this apparatus. It's for collecting stray ziranium effluvium. Gas, that is. My supply is running low from all the iterative testing I've been performing. Merely activate the device once it's inside a ziranium cloud, the one around the main hangar specifically. Try to avoid any fields of dense ziranium, or death is all but assured. Any questions? Normally, yes, but on the off chance that environmental exposure has altered the gas here in any way, I'll want to work with local samples. Ideally, the resulting shielding will protect against any gas, but since it's of utmost importance that it work on the gas here, I'll be calibrating against that. Well, of course, obviously. To that end, I'd suggest choosing a cloud of lesser density for your collection efforts. Lower chance of near-instant death that way. If you suffer prolonged exposure, assuming you survive, see our local medical officer next door. She is highly preoccupied by the treatment of Zeranium-related maladies. I believe that covers all the necessary education for this particular assignment. Oh, so exhilarating to have a new subordinate. I look forward to thoroughly scrutinizing your work. Now, shoo-shoo! Off with you now! Gather those samples! Shoo!
Commander, I think this stuff is eating my lungs from the inside.
My little minion. I trust you've made progress in your tasks? What did I tell you? Perfectly safe. Either that or you tolerate Zeranium poisoning like a champ. Good for you. Should you suffer from any lingering symptoms of contamination, visit the medical center and they'll get you squared away. Now, on to business. The device already generates a field exactly as specified, albeit on a very small scale. Still, progress is progress. What's needed now is something to help extend and shape the field around the user. A shield, you adorable nitwit. An enclosure. A personal encapsulation to protect your vitals. I require a component called a catalytic amplifier. You'll be pleased to learn there's one right here at the facility, in the Dragoon that's patrolling just outside. Dragoon, you lovable dunce. And no, banish the idea from your absent mind. Unfortunately for me, our chief mechanist, Woodrow, wasn't enthusiastic about my proposal to geld his only combat automech. So you may have trouble getting your hands on the catalytic amplifier. Dragoons are a mainstay of our military. The design has been in production for decades. I had a model of one when I was young. All children did. You must have seen the large automech patrolling the interior grounds. That is the Dragoon. I'm sure he's just being cautious. Should Auntie's Choice attack us, we don't want to be caught defenseless. No doubt he also seeks to retain an unspoiled automech, since the others are by now riddled with Zeranium poisoning. Good. A flexible mindset should behoove you on this task. Perhaps the chief mechanist will prove more receptive to your request. Failing that, be prepared to exercise creativity if needed. One last thing, the Dragoon must not be harmed. Not only would the amplifier likely be damaged, but we'd both be summarily executed, assuming we survive the firefight that ensued. Well, off you go. Shoo.
Give me a sec. Almost done with this work list. Another sealant failure, amplifier requisition, and 2 more cases of 𝘼𝙗𝙗 exposure. We're a mite bit busy these days. She and I have been over this 100 times. Please understand, the original staff of this facility were rounded up and refreshed because they couldn't safeguard a protectorate asset. Why should I follow their example by reducing our sole working Dragoon to a pile of unpatriotic scrap? I can't. I won't. That's a fair point. It's not as if they've come back to finish the job. Perhaps they assume we're already beaten. All right, how's about we get the Dragoon situated over here, so I can extract its vital organ? 1 catalytic amplifier as agreed. I hate to lose another Dragoon, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Not a chance. Donaldson has done everything in his power to get this facility online. He can't blame me for doing the same. Be seeing you, stranger.
Well, any closer to obtaining the catalytic amplifier? Oh, superb! I'm almost tempted to ask how you managed it. But pressing on, just a moment to remove what I need and install it in the prototype. With this gadget, you'll be shielded against more than 𝘼𝙗𝙗, you know. Damn near everything, as long as it's charged. Now, report to Marshal Donaldson, if you please. He's rather impatient to end this crisis so he can turn his focus back to the war. You do that. Anything to keep him off my back for an hour.
Outer chassis sealant test number 14 is confirmed a failure. 𝘼𝙗𝙗 exposure rate appears to be unaffected. Test model displayed standard overload-induced paralysis, then became atypically aggressive. Forced to terminate test model in self-defense. Apologies, I must concentrate on my work. Maybe one of the others can help you.
First the attack, then the 𝘼𝙗𝙗. At this rate, we're never getting caught up. prudence dictates, we cherish all we have. Defend it.
I'm glad that spectacle didn't scare you off. Between the recent attacks and the gas leak, you find us on the razor's edge between reason and panic. Whether or not you're able to help us, I'm grateful to have an extra set of eyes on the problem. Zeranium is hardly my area of expertise, but it falls to me to find a solution, lest I follow my predecessors to their untimely fate. I knew Dr. Bryant would come through for us, that she'd prove her worth as surely as any subject of the Protectorate would. Seeing as you're the only one trained in the use of that gadget, what say you put it through its paces? Make your way inside the repair hangar and find the control terminal to purge the Zeranium. And be careful with that terminal. We don't want the situation getting any worse. Why in law's name would you want to know that? Good thinking. I suppose if some computational greenhorn left even one of the intake conduits open and shut down the Zeranium flow, that'd be a disaster. Good thing we don't make rookie mistakes in my unit. Any further questions? Don't worry about Woodrow. Smart fellow, but his cautious nature gets in the way. Yes, there is some risk that exposure to Zeranium will corrupt our automechs, to use his colorful language. That shouldn't stop us from delivering them on time. I'm sure they'll be scrubbed clean once they arrive at the Vox relay. But that isn't our problem to solve. You be sure and come back once you've made progress on the leak.
chat, Commander? This is a delicate situation. You reckon we help folk here get back on their feet? Or do what the Minister asked? Well, if we help Westport, the Vigilant has promised to get us into the box. Folk here could rebuild their community. Maybe. But it's only delaying the inevitable, if you ask me. If we convince these folk to join up with Auntie's Choice, they can start new lives away from the Protectorate guillotine. They'd be grateful once they see what we got on offer. Plus, the Minister's deal was clear. Do this, and he'll tell you how to gain entrance to the Vox. So you'd still get what you're after. The whereabouts of DeVries, right? Come on, Commander. Westport's damn near underwater, and the Protectorate are claiming everyone they're in to be traitors. Barring some mass change of heart, it's a matter of time before these folk get struck down by their own. The Vigilant seems a decent enough sort, but he's just one man. You want to give these folk a real shot at living? Send them to Fairfield. You got it. Let's start conversating. The sooner we know how folk really feel about living here, the sooner we'll know who to butter up.
Oh, a new arrival. Oh, and what's this? You, I dare say, are exhibiting clear signs of Zeranium exposure, stranger. Fortunately for you, you appear to have a fairly mild case. I imagine you haven't even noticed any symptoms yet. If you'd indulge me, I have a few questions I'd like to ask. I'm afraid I require more information before I can render treatment. That will ensure you get the care you need, and it will only cost your time. First question. Can you describe the conditions in which you were exposed to the Zeranium? Ah, another assistant. Should have guessed. I suppose I should be grateful for all the data she sends my way, but I do wish Dell would think more of her collaborators' well-being. All right, next question. How are you feeling? For instance, well, good for you. Keeping a positive attitude can often aid your recovery. I wish more of my patients shared your optimistic disposition. As promised, you're due a round of advanced Zeranium therapy of the highest possible quality. Apologies for any severe discomfort you may have experienced in the interim. There, that should do it. Do stop back in if you suffer additional exposure. Normally I'd say to ask the quartermaster, but he died a few weeks back. Perhaps he's been replaced since? I wouldn't know, as I've had my hands full since the attack. Failing that, I imagine you could ask the technicians here. One of them might know. Oh, gladly. I've rather dedicated my life to researching its unique form of matter. What would you like to know? Zeranium is a crystal. Even in its raw form, it generates energy. But once refined and stored in a quasi-gaseous state, its output increases exponentially. Zeranium is found in a liquid state as well, but it's far too hazardous and inefficient for our needs. Refined Zeranium is used to power nearly all major Protectorate technology. It's an amazingly efficient power source. However, it's also highly unstable and must be mined exceedingly carefully. Even minor bumps or jolts can cause Zeranium crystals to explode. Zeranium in its default crystalline state poses two risks. First, it's extremely volatile, exploding with an immense burst of energy if upset in any way. Second, Zeranium crystals produce a small amount of gas, which we think helps stabilize its crystalline lattice, but that's just a theory. In this gaseous state, Zeranium is quite hazardous, breaking down organic matter through a mechanism we still don't quite understand. I'm not sure how that's related, but I can confirm that the poison our foes peddle as sustenance can often have deleterious effects. The concentration of the gas is a critical factor. A person could remain in a light haze for several minutes, whereas a dense cloud can kill near instantly. Anyhow, I could talk about this all day if I let myself. Hope I haven't bored you unduly. Total avoidance is best, but try to get out of the Zeranium as quickly as you can if exposure becomes necessary. Come to think of it, there may be some exciting new breakthroughs in the near future. Our visiting scientist next door is working on a device that shields the user from Zeranium's effects, though she was having a spot of trouble last I heard.
What brings you to this fine establishment? Stay true, outsider.
Outsider?
Ambient Zeranium levels are higher than average, but within acceptable ranges. State your business. This unit was engineered to facilitate management of supply inventory at this installation.
Oh, this is surely exciting. Someone is finally trying out my automechanical quartermaster. Show them what you got, quartermech.
Command not understood.
Huh. I thought that would have put it into sales mode. Best look into that later. Please, give it a try yourself.
All wares should be perfectly visible already.
Sorry, it tends to take things too literally. Maybe try phrasing the request differently.
Lull detected. Conversational status uncomfortable. Request not understood.
It only understands the words I've added to its databanks. You wouldn't believe how many words there are for buying and selling. Guess I missed peruse. Look, for now, just use the phrase initiate commerce. It's what I used during the initial testing.
Initiating commerce.
Oh, unfamiliar clientele. I was just lamenting the lack of new faces around here since supplies stopped arriving. And then you walk in. Name's Hazel. I'm sort of the acting quartermaster around these parts. You need any supplies? Talk to my friend the quartermech here. You'd think that a fully stocked auto-mechanical repair center would have automech parts, and 9 times out of 10 you'd be spot on. Trouble is, a bunch of supplies went missing recently, right around the time the quartermech completed a routine inventory. You're not implying the quartermech is somehow responsible, are you? I'd hate for the big guy to get in trouble. Fair's fair. Better to pay now than lose my favorite quartermech later. Delphinia's lab would be the place to search. We use it for storage, and our records indicate the supplies were present and accounted for. Are you acquainted with Delphinia? She's a scientist on loan from the Vox Relay, helping with the Zeranium leak and all. As she ought to be. Donaldson needs to get this facility back in working order. Otherwise, we're all bound for mental refreshment. On that happy thought, best of luck in your search. Do let me know if you need anything. See you soon, I hope.
Feeling distracted? Daydreaming on the job? Mental refreshment centers are there to help you. Don't risk falling prey to imperfect thoughts. Go now.
Under protectorate law, we are bound to inform you that you
Almost missed the routine certitude of my assigned professions.
all inhabitants are declared treasonous due to insufficient zeal in defense against seizure, sabotage, and outsider? Well, look who it is. What is it? Speak your mind. Nobody needs go anywhere. Not when we can still save Westport. We of the Protectorate endure as one, regardless of any hardships we must face. It'd have to be catastrophically obvious this place was doomed, and incontrovertibly beyond my means to save it, before I'd even consider such a recourse. Well, that's what's commonly referred to as your opinion. I have the aid of key pillars of our community. Several persons of note and good character who stand with and by me, and our town still functions. Our automechs are still running, mostly. We have a generator to power them, fresh water, the reassuring voice of everyone's neighbor Prudence wafts from our loudspeakers. Mock me if you must, but the matriarch herself made greatness out of little. I have a brighter future in mind for Westport, one you can help with, in fact, rather than dwelling on dark maybes and scenarios of worst imagining. What all of us need most here are those auto-mechanical parts. Now, please, make haste retrieving them. Farewell now. Ah, the itinerant stranger returns. Certainly. What would you like to know? I know as an outsider you may not be able to understand this, but the structure of our society is sacrosanct. If any one subject does not do their duty, it puts everyone at risk. Ours was to protect Westport when antis attacked us, with our lives if the situation necessitated it. As you can see, we failed. We're also tasked with leading the rest of the subjects, but now that I've become a traitor, the only guidance I provide is to the few left here, and I will do right by them. Is there anything else? That is most excellent. Please, hand them over.
Fascinatingly complex ecological network.
Yes, we had what you outsiders call a deal. I promised you a means past the bridge and a way inside the Vox relay. There is wreckage from a crashed ship traversing most of the expanse. With the right equipment, the path will lead you directly to the Vox relay's main gate. Tell me, do you already have Protectorate jump boots in your possession? That's what I knew them as. The official title is Personal Plasma Thrusters, I suppose.
Robust ecosystem.
No, but we have an outpost up at Spire Grove. Requires a lot of cliff work. They likely have a prototype there. I'll prepare a writ of conscription to allow you entry to the Vox relay. While most would refuse my authorization, the sentry assigned to the gate once lived in Westport. Sentry second-class layman. Show the writ as proof I have conscripted you into my employ. Use it to press service on my behalf, and she will let you in. Once you're inside, there's someone else you should show it to. You do that and say what I tell you. It'd save many lives.
To offset any minor disruption.
I can't offer you anything for it, but you've proven yourself sympathetic to our cause. Consider you a compatriot now. I'm counting on you to do right by folks here once more. Hopefully, you'll return afterward and find Westport thriving, all on account of your efforts. That is the only reward I'm able to offer. Under Protectorate law, we are bound to inform you that you have entered a recreant locality. Record states as follows. The Vox relay is, to my mind, a time bomb. Brigadier Montelli's lost his way. Now all manner of chaos is raging there. I've heard tell he's even resorted to extra-legal executions. Madness, I tell you. A brigadier doesn't act as judge, jury, and executioner. That's an arbiter's job. And even then, they're enforcing existing Protectorate law. Marshal Corbin. As with all my subjects, I have been there when he needed me. I trust we can call on him now to do his part. Seek him out at the Vox relay, conscript him with the writ. And this is important. You must convince him to kill Montelli. Corbin will want to talk him down, to take him into custody, to message superiors outside the facility beforehand. We cannot allow any of that to happen.
Suffering. Poor dears didn't have the firm, benevolent hand of the sovereign to guide them.
If Corbin becomes the highest-ranking officer alive, no one will be able to contradict his accounting of events. The Protectorate execute connivers and schemers. Corbin must appear forced to take down Montelli in the moment. It cannot feel like a plotted coup. Good, good. Here is the writ. I may not survive to see what occurs, but I trust you to follow your conscience. Farewell now. Promise you'll return here if you can, to check in on my people and see how they fare.
And thank the sovereign.
Nobody needs go anywhere. Not when we can still save Westport. We of the Protectorate endure as one, regardless of any hardships we must face. It'd have to be catastrophically up. When I look outside, farewell now.
Why choose just any choice when you could choose Auntie's choice?
Ah, hell. I've stood this post so many times I could do it in my sleep.
Never catch a break. Finally find a way to get ahead, and this happens.
Introducing Auntie's new line of specialty drinks for the discerning consumer. 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩.
Yeah.
Pulverizing them suffice? No, I couldn't liquefy them. Apply heat and congeal them into kibble no beast could resist. Oh, Ethel, darling, you're a genius. Approach with less haste next time, won't you? Copernicus may be tame, but he still doesn't take kindly to being startled. Oh, Inez, you look, well, like you could use an ice bath and a cup of newly formulated trip teas. Has something happened?
Something has, all right. I ended my contract effective immediately. Now I'm free to prove myself to everyone in Auntie's choice. My way.
Well, that's wonderful news. Or is it? I admit I'm still trying to work through what contracts mean hereabouts. But you do appear to be pleased, so I shall be pleased for you. Oh, yes. The Protectorate did not have contracts in this sense. Despite the time I've had to acclimate to Auntie's choice, I sometimes fail to grasp such concepts.
Never mind that. I really need your help, Doc, with my graft. Was hoping you had some ideas on how to fix it.
What timing? As it just so happens, I believe I do. No. I'm using my own funds and the equipment allotted to me for my Raptidons. As far as our leadership is concerned, this work remains firmly in my past. I prefer it that way. Before I began my new illustrious career working with our tame, scaly friends here, I was a researcher in the Enhanced Soldier Division. Oh, I was on the verge of breakthrough when they shut us down. Oh, when I think of the lives I could have reached. But in my current role, I do try to help where I can.
Where my own first aid training can't reach, Doc's got me covered. The graft knocked me on my ass for weeks when I first got it. But she nursed me back to health.
Would if I could have done more.
Despite your insinuation, there are plenty of good folk around here, but perhaps not many with Doc's particular skill set.
I understand your reservation, but I do care deeply for all my patients. Inez has attested to it, and so can Copernicus here, when he is freshly fed. Where was I? Right. I have a lead, Inez. I've identified 2 viable beasts on this island that you may be compatible with, though it may not be easy to acquire the suitable specimens. Unfortunately, the beasts must be subdued, and due to the nature of the specimens we require for the procedure, sadly killed. I might add that these are powerful beasts indeed. The first candidate is the skeleton crabble. It has a rare form of albinism and was last spotted on the western coast by Protectorate scientists, who, unfortunately, went missing. I happened upon an old report of theirs along with a code used to operate their machinery. If their fate is what I suspect, the code may be of use to you.
I heard rumors of the creature myself. Our skeleton sounds a good bit larger than the average crabble. Meaner and smarter, too. The name's metaphorical. This creature's real pale, bone-colored, but it's got muscles and innards like anything else.
The second candidate is a Raptidon matriarch, the only one of her kind on the island as I understand it. She was last spotted in the crags near the Vox Relay.
Deep in Protectorate territory. This matriarch sure ain't making it easy for us. She'll be more aggressive and more cunning than her smaller kin.
When you breach the matriarch's lair, you must rouse her from hibernation. I found pheromones to be quite effective. Inez, I'm certain you know a formula that may suffice.
That I do.
Excellent. It'll be a rather unpleasant wake-up call for the matriarch, so she'll be upon you in moments. I suggest your armaments be at the ready. Then the grafting part is yours. I can assure you my research is sound, and I am not at all like the last surgeon who performed on Inez. I take pride in my work. Now, when you acquire one or both of these parts, return here straight away, and we can begin surgery. Oh, I love questions. Ask away. I would never imply such a thing. I'm sure the Minister and Officer Carr have only our best interests at heart. Though I must admit, their continuing quarrels give me trepidation. I'm unused to the way things are done here, I suppose. The Protectorate leadership never behaved in such a manner. The fact is that those two never got along particularly well, even under the best of circumstances. One wishes to woo Protectorate subjects to our ranks. The other wishes to secure a decisive victory with weaponry and technology. As for which approach is best, I wish I knew. I see. I hope his spirits may be sustained. I have grown fond of the Minister, but I cannot help but wonder if he fully understands how proud the Protectorate are. It takes great courage or desperation to acknowledge the wrongs of one's society, and even more to leave it entirely He may find that courage to be rarer than he thinks. Or perhaps he will manage to prove me wrong with his powers of persuasion yet again. How I would welcome it in this case. Very well. I ought to focus more on my work than on social tensions anyhow. I work directly with Officer Carr and her soldiers to ensure they're outfitted with the best Raptidon counterparts Paradise Island can provide. In theory, they'll be trusted to guard our most precious assets, including our leadership. For now, they deter encroachment from wild Raptidons. It's most agreeable. Trust me, they are safer here than out in the wilds. I have been reprimanded thrice now for undue pampering. I would not be here if this experiment was still causing needless suffering. Well, I was a subject once. Despite my talents, the plan dictated that I should be relegated to programming cleaning mechs. Bah. But then, Auntie's Choice came along and offered to transform our lives for the better. I chose to accept. And look where I am today. Over the last year, I have climbed the rungs of my division through the sheer merit of my work. I have finally earned the respect I was always due. So you must understand what my position exemplifies and why my work has become my pride. When I embraced Auntie's, I was given latitude to better myself. My dreams and abilities were my only limit. That's the beauty of Auntie's Choice. Everyone can make of their lives what they wish. Ask any of the other Protectorate subjects who converted, and they'd echo my words. When one can allow their ambitions to show, that is true freedom. They did. I was in a dreadful state before the invasion. I fear I was close to disappearing myself. The Sovereign claims to provide for all of our needs. But without freedom and autonomy, I could not find happiness. In any case, I do hope I've satisfied your curiosity. The war effort and liberating the rest of the Protectorate waits for no one, you understand?